So, what is this lawsuit you're hearing about, and how is that going to affect you purchasing homes going forward? Hi, I'm Gina with Team Ogle at West USA Realty here in Phoenix, Arizona. So, effective the 17th of August, if you're going to be writing a purchase contract with a realtor, you're going to need to be under what's called a buyer broker agreement. So, this is not new. I got licensed in 1994 and they've been pushing it since then. Their theory was if you wouldn't sell somebody's house without a written contract, why would you work with a buyer without a written contract? So that's the premise of it. The change in this lawsuit is now it's going to be a requirement. It doesn't matter what state you're in or what brokerage you're working for, everybody effective August 17th has to be under a buyer broker agreement to be able to write a contract with a buyer. So, what does that mean? Well, let's talk about something that probably makes a little bit more sense to you that we've been doing for years. And so that is you want to list your house with an agent. And you would call me up and say, hey, Gina, I'm interested in talking about listing my house. I would come over, we would have a conversation. Within that conversation, I would explain to you how I'd be offering to act for you as an agent. That is a disclosure. So I'd be a seller's agent. My broker here in Arizona, all listings belong to the broker. And so if somebody from my office were to sell that house, we would be in a limited representation situation. So we would go in and explain all that. You're not under a contract at that point. We're just talking about disclosures. I've given you an agency disclosure. But you call me back up and you say, Gina, I want to list my house with you. Yay! Okay, now I'm going to come over and we're going to enter into a contract. And in that contract, there's going to be a start date and there's going to be an end date. And the contract is going to explain all the terms and conditions. We're all in agreement with that. We sign that, we go forward. Okay. So the buyer broker agreement is kind of like that. So how does that look in the real world situation? So, Tim and I have been saying for years, don't go into a builder's model home without us, right? We have to be with you on your first appointment because if you register, you might have accidentally signed up for something that says you can't work with that agent or bring an outside agent in for 6 to 12 months. So you're just working with the builder directly and you're not getting any representation. So that would be an example. Let's talk about open houses. Can you still go to open houses? Absolutely. They're fun to go to. But when you walk in, right, you've got an agent in there. So it might be me and my own listing. I'm the seller's agent. And it might be an agent from my company. They're in limited representation agency at that point. You start asking meaningful conversations, having a meaningful conversation about the house, start asking questions. And we bring that up because it is a disclosure, right? We're not in a contract at that point. But if you underwrite a contract on that house with the other agent, not the listing agent, I'll go into that in a second, or you really connected with that agent and you said, you know what, I really want to work with you to go find me a house. At that point, we would need to enter into a buyer broker agreement because, yay, you're going to hire me to work for you as an agent. So it's going to have a start date and an end date, and it's going to explain all the terms of the contract. This is no longer a disclosure, but it's a contract. So what does that all mean to you? Don't sign anything. Don't sign anything with anybody until you call Tim or I. If you want us to work for you as your agents, buyer or seller side, call us first, okay? Now, what happens if you want to work directly with the listing agent and you don't want to be represented? That's okay. It's no different than you being a for sale by owner and working with a buyer agent on the other end where they sell your listing. You're not getting representation at that point. They work for their client. So in that situation, you work with the listing agent. We can write the contract for you. We cannot give you any advice. You are a customer, which is a disclosure situation, right? But the listing agent is under contract with their client, the seller. Therefore, you are unrepresented. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So that's just a very basic thing in a nutshell. And but call us, reach out to us, let us know if you have any questions on that. The best way to reach us is by email, office@teamogle, TEAMOGLE, or call us, and I'm going to put our number right down here. This is where it rings both of our phones and you can call us and ask us any questions at all. So the big change happens August 17th, and there's going to be a big difference between disclosures, which was the only thing we were required to do when we were writing a purchase contract, and now a buyer-broker agreement, which is a contract to hire your agent. And hopefully that is Team Ogle at West USA Realty. Talk to you soon.